Dark, darker, yet darker. The darkness keeps growing, the shadows cutting deeper.
These words belong to the person who established the Deltarune universe, namely Dr. Gaster. He is a character seen with an extremely small chance in the Undertale universe. In this video, I will explain all the theories regarding Gaster to you. Before I begin, let me say that everything in this video consists only of theories. So then, let's get started. In Undertale, every time you start a new game, you receive a fun value between 1 and 100. Depending on these values you receive, strange events occur within your game. For example, if your fun value is between 2 and 39, you receive a phone call when you arrive in Snowdin. The caller realizes they dialed the wrong number and starts singing the wrong number song, mentioning they're calling someone whose name starts with G. It is suspected that this phone call is for WD Gaster, yet there is no proof. Similarly, if your fun value is between 40 and 45, Sans calls us while in the Snowdin forest and asks if our refrigerator is running. Depending on the chosen answer, if it is running, he offers to leave the beers, and if it isn't, he offers to send someone to fix it. As you can see, the fun value creates fun moments for us by making small changes in the game, but a few of them are critical. If your fun value is 66, you encounter a mysterious corridor and waterfall. If you are lucky enough, there is a 10% chance of a door being in the middle of the corridor. When you enter through here, you meet the hero of this video, Dr. Gaster. If you interact with him, he simply smiles and disappears. What does this event tell us? Actually, if you look at it, it tells us about meaninglessness. He is a being of uncertain nature. So how will we obtain information about him? For this, we need to look at the Gaster Followers at fun values 61, 62, and 63. These are strangely colored creatures that can appear with very small chances, just like Gaster. They appear in Hotland and disappear after talking to us. This is where we reach the most accurate data regarding who Gaster is. For instance, let's listen carefully to one conversation. I understand why Asgore waited so long to hire a new royal scientist. The previous one? Dr. Gaster. His brilliance was irreplaceable. However, his life just was cut short. One day, his experiments went wrong, and, well, I needn't gossip. After all, it's rude to talk about someone who's listening. From these sentences, we understand that Gaster was the royal scientist before Alphys, and that he was an extremely brilliant person. Precisely for this reason, Asgore thought quite a bit while looking for a new scientist. At the same time, it says an experiment went wrong, but the sentence is cut short. Now let's look at the other one. Alphys might work faster, but the old royal scientist, Dr. Gaster, one day he vanished without a trace. They say he shattered across time and space. How can I say so without fear? I'm holding a piece of him right here. These words are extremely critical. It says Gaster vanished in a strange way one day and shattered into pieces across time and space. This is where Gaster's connection with the Deltarune universe begins. Now let's listen to the words of the last Gaster follower and put the pieces together. It makes sense why Asgore took so long to hire a new royal scientist. After all, the old one, Dr. Gaster. What an act to follow. They say he created the core. However, his life was cut short. One day he fell into his creation, and will Alphys end up the same way? Now, the pieces have fallen into place. Gaster created the massive core we see. But after a while, he fell into this massive core he created, and then shattered across time and space. Ultimately, he evolved into the form you see. In fact, if you've noticed, when we go near him, we cannot collide with him. On the contrary, we pass through him and feel nothing. The reason for this is his evolution into this strange form. At the same time, it is mentioned in a sentence by a Gaster follower that his experiments went wrong. When we take a look at Gaster's appearance, we see that he seems to be melting just like Undyne. So, what was the reason for Undyne melting as she died, possessing an uncertain substance called determination? It is understood from here that Gaster injected himself with an extremely high concentration of determination, but all of this is still not enough to solve Gaster's mystery. To gather more information, we need to tinker with the game files a bit. If we reach a place called Room 264 using Cheat Engine, or by changing the in-game files and start the game after doing so, a text with a strange font appears before us. These words also belong to Gaster. These messages you see are written in the Wingdings font. The meaning of all of them has already been solved. In this dialogue, it is said that a man is conducting a strange experiment with two people beside him. These are Gaster's memories. After all, the font was Gaster's font. From the sentence, "What do you two think?" At the end, it is explained that Gaster is speaking with two people. There are many theories about this. I think the most logical one is that these two are Sans and Alphys. Because when we look at Sans's dialogue, he knows that we die and are reborn repeatedly, and that we rewind time. For him to know this, he must be aware of Gaster's experiments. At the same time, the presence of a machine related to Gaster behind Sans's house is one of the proofs. Also in this room, we find a photograph with many people, including Sans. If we interacted with Clam Girl at the beginning of the game, we find a picture in this room as well. The picture is poorly drawn and has 3 people on it. Assuming Sans was in the album just now, if you ask me, the person Gaster is calling out to is definitely Sans. The reason I say Alphys for the other is because she is the other scientist. Also, in the peaceful ending, there are clues that Sans and Alphys were together in the past, so our duo is likely Sans and Alphys. The other and main important part of this conversation is where Gaster says the darkness is rising. Keep this darkness thing in mind because it has a direct connection to the Deltarune universe. Now let's continue looking at the game. During a journey with the river person, they say words to us that evoke Gaster. Beware of the man who speaks in hands. Beware of the man who came from the other world. This creature is definitely in the wrong time and space. Here is the main piece that confirms the truth. They claim Gaster is in the wrong time and space. This brings the following question to our minds. Could Gaster be someone traveling between parallel universes? Or the creator of these parallel universes? This is the part related to Deltarune. As you know, Deltarune is formed by rearranging the letters of Undertale. You know that all characters in Undertale are also in Deltarune. Additionally, for you to create a new world in Deltarune, there needs to be darkness. Do you remember this sentence of Gaster's? Dark, darker, yet darker. The darkness keeps growing? This is exactly a reference to Deltarune. When we look at all this evidence, we can definitely say that Gaster is the person who created the Deltarune universe. As a result of his experiments, he created a parallel universe of Undertale. In this universe, monsters and humans can finally live in peace, just as we imagined in Undertale. Actually, everything is a part of Gaster's experiment. Now let's look at the Deltarune universe. Before that, I will explain the Twitter posts of the official Undertale account to you. Here, we see someone whose speech looks exactly like Gaster. He is calling us to Deltarune. I could read all the conversations, but since we've already discussed similar things, I'll summarize briefly. Gaster is calling us to Deltarune. He says he has been waiting for us for a long time, and that we should come now. Actually, what is meant to be said here is that Gaster took over Undertale's Twitter account to connect with us. Now let's move on to Deltarune. Some dialogues greet us in Deltarune chapters 3 and 4. In our first defeat against the Knight, these words appear on the screen. Very interesting. Your loss here is all but guaranteed, and yet you persist. If you are so determined to try once more, then shall we hasten? The most important part of these words is the phrase, very interesting. We know that the person who uses this sentence in Undertale is Gaster himself. This means that Gaster is the one speaking to us in these dialogues in Deltarune. Now let's continue examining these dialogues. At the end of chapter 4, the following text appears on the screen. Well done. The halfway mark has been attained. But it is still waiting. How much longer now? My Deltarune. Now, with these sentences, everything is out in the open. Gaster clearly and explicitly says, my Deltarune. Also, if we finish the game with no achievements, he says, interesting. You failed to achieve any marks. What are you? void. I very much look forward to the next. What he wants to say here is that we are just a subject of Gaster. His saying, "I'm waiting for the next one," shows that he is waiting for other players, meaning subjects. Now it's time to wrap up. Gaster was the former royal scientist in Undertale. As a result of his experiments, he shattered across time and created the Deltarune universe. The character we play is also a part of Gaster's experiment, so you can think of it as us testing the universe Gaster created. Well, what will happen as a result of the experiment? For that, we need to wait for the other chapters of Deltarune. That's all from me for this video. Goodbye.